Chosen one. You are not here by accident, and this moment did not find you randomly. Before you pressed play, heaven had already marked this encounter. What drew you here was not curiosity, it was alignment. Divine timing has converged, and your spirit recognized the signal before your mind could explain it. Anointed one, hear this carefully. You are standing at the edge of a supernatural breakthrough. What has been forming quietly in the unseen is now pressing toward manifestation. This is not ordinary progress. This is sudden elevation. This is divine wealth transfer. This is heaven stepping into your timeline with provision, clarity, and authority. There are blessings God releases that are too sacred for noise, too strategic for exposure. As it is written in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3, the vision is appointed for a set time, and though it tarries, it does not forget you. That appointed time is drawing near. Chosen one. God is preparing you not just to receive, but to steward, not just to increase, but to remain aligned. What is coming will test your wisdom before it rewards your patience. This is a season where silence becomes strategy, humility becomes protection, and obedience becomes acceleration. Lean in with reverence, still your spirit. What you are about to hear is not information, it is instruction. Heaven is speaking, and your next level depends on how you listen. Chosen one. There are moments in life when heaven moves so quietly, so intentionally, that you don't even realize the shift has begun until everything around you starts responding differently. This is one of those moments. Not the loud kind. Not the kind that announces itself with flashes and noise. This is the sacred kind, the kind that slips into your atmosphere like a whisper and yet carries the weight of a prophecy unfolding. When favor begins to rise, it rarely arrives with trumpets. It arrives the way dawn does, softly, steadily, until suddenly you realize the whole landscape has changed. And chosen one. Something in your life is beginning to change in that same silent, holy way. Doors that once felt sealed shut are loosening. Opportunities you thought had passed you by are circling back with new intention. Provision that once felt distant is drawing near. You may not see the full picture yet, but heaven has already begun clearing the path in front of you. Anointed one. I've lived long enough and walked with God long enough to know that the quiet seasons are often the most prophetic ones. The times when you feel overlooked, underappreciated, or hidden are often the very seasons when God is positioning you for something far greater than you imagined. I remember seasons where I cried out to God in the dark, wondering if He still remembered my name. I remember praying for breakthrough while my hands were still trembling from disappointment. And yet, looking back, those seasons were not signs of abandonment, they were signs of alignment. They were the moments God was strengthening the foundation beneath me so that when the blessing arrived, I wouldn't collapse under its weight. Chosen one. I believe you are. In that same kind of transitional space, you are standing between what was and what will be, and this middle space requires silence, maturity, and discernment. There is a reason God often answers private prayers with private blessings first. Not because He wants to hide His goodness, but because He wants to prepare you to carry it. Divine wealth, divine favor, divine increase, they come with weight. And weight requires strengthened shoulders. Many people pray for abundance, but few are ready for the spiritual discipline that abundance demands. Because prosperity is not just about what you receive, it's about who you become as you carry it. I've learned this through experience. Before God multiplies what is in your hand, He purifies what is in your heart. He aligns your motives, your intentions, your discipline, your relationships. He removes what cannot go with you, and he strengthens what must remain. This is why silence becomes your shield in seasons of blessing. Silence gives God room to finish what he started, without interference, without sabotage, without unnecessary noise. There is something powerful about knowing when to keep things between you and God. Not out of fear, but out of reverence. Not because you're hiding, but because you're honoring the process. Chosen one, what God is doing in you right now is sacred. It is tender, it is delicate, and not everyone around you has the spiritual maturity to handle what God is preparing to release in your life. Some people respond to your elevation with encouragement, but others respond with envy, and envy is not always loud. Sometimes it smiles, sometimes it nods, sometimes it sits at the same table as you, but internally it wars against what God is placing on your life. This is why heaven often instructs you to move quietly, to build quietly, to grow quietly, to let your fruit speak for you when the time comes. Because premature exposure can destroy what God is still strengthening. Anointed one, when money comes from God, when provision comes from God, when breakthrough comes from God, it carries a different fragrance. It carries purpose. It carries responsibility. It carries spiritual assignment. And heaven wants to know if you can handle it with grace, with humility, with wisdom. I've seen too many people lose what God gave them because they celebrated too loudly, too quickly, too publicly. They mistook manifestation for completion. They assumed the blessing meant the battle was over, not realizing that abundance brings new tests. When you were in lack, your faith was tested by waiting. But when you enter abundance, your faith is tested by stewardship. And stewardship requires sensitivity. When God blesses you, the enemy watches too. That's why silence becomes your covering, because the less people know, the less they can target. Your next season will not require you to speak more. It will require you to listen more. Chosen one. The world teaches people to broadcast everything, every success, every blessing, every achievement. But heaven teaches the opposite. Protect what is sacred. Guard what is holy. Keep what is fragile away from careless hands. The quiet ones, the ones who build without applause, the ones who let God elevate them in silence, those are the ones who remain unshaken. Because their foundation was formed in secrecy, not in spectacle. And I need you to understand this deeply. What God is releasing into your life is not ordinary. It is not casual. It is not something to flaunt. It is something to nurture, honor, and steward with a sober mind and a humble heart. There will be moments ahead where your spirit feels the shift before your circumstances reveal it. Moments where you sense that something is coming, even if you cannot name it yet. Pay attention to those moments. They are divine signals. God speaks in whispers before he moves in wonders. And your ability to stay quiet, stay grounded, and stay listening will determine how smoothly you walk into the season God is unfolding for you now. Chosen one. When heaven begins to rearrange the path beneath your feet, it rarely announces itself with noise. Instead, it moves like a shift in the atmosphere, a change you can feel before you can explain. There is a quiet pressure in your spirit, a stirring that keeps nudging you toward something unfamiliar yet divinely orchestrated. This stirring is not anxiety, it is alignment. It is heaven adjusting your steps so that your spirit arrives before your blessing does. And in this sacred transition, silence becomes more than a discipline. It becomes a weapon. It shields what is growing, it protects what is forming, and it anchors you when everything around you starts responding to the new oil on your life. I've learned that when God is getting ready to bless you publicly, He will often test you privately first. He watches how you handle correction, how you handle increase, how you handle the small wins before He releases the greater ones. And chosen one, you are being examined right now, not to be punished, but to be prepared. There were seasons in my own life when blessings began to emerge quietly, softly, slipping into place after years of waiting. I remember the confusion of asking, is this really happening, because the shift was too delicate to announce and too divine to deny. In those seasons, God taught me something invaluable. Premature celebration can sabotage divine timing. When you expose what God is still building, you invite voices that were never meant to shape the structure. You invite energy that can contaminate the foundation. And I made that mistake once when I shared too early what God placed in my hands, only to watch people who lacked spiritual maturity attempt to guide, question, or limit what heaven was trying to expand. It cost me time, peace, and momentum. That lesson marked me deeply, and I vowed to never again reveal what God was still rooting in the soil of my spirit. Chosen one, hear me clearly. What God is birthing in you right now is still tender. Protect it. When divine provision begins to flow, it doesn't just change your bank account, it changes the atmosphere around you. People start sensing the difference even before you say a word. They notice the glow, the confidence, the peace that wasn't there before. And while some will celebrate you sincerely, others will analyze you silently. Not because you wronged them, but because your elevation reveals their stagnation. Wealth, especially wealth that comes from God, has a way of exposing hearts. It exposes jealousy that was quietly sitting behind smiles. It exposes insecurity that was disguised as advice. It exposes motives in people you once trusted. This is why heaven teaches the chosen ones to rise softly, to walk wisely, and to separate quietly. Not as an act of arrogance, but as an act of spiritual protection. Anointed One, I want to speak to you not only from revelation, but from lived experience. I know what it feels like to outgrow environments that once felt comfortable. I know the guilt that tries to attach itself when God lifts you higher than those around you. I know the tension of walking into a new realm while still feeling tied to old connections. And I know the spiritual discomfort of realizing that some people are not equipped to witness your breakthrough. It took me years to accept that elevation requires separation, not angry separation, but holy separation. The kind that says, I love you, but I cannot shrink to stay where you are. The kind that says, I cannot expose what God entrusted to me to those who are not ready to handle it. And chosen one, you are coming into that moment now. Your elevation will demand quieter footsteps and clearer boundaries. When heaven opens doors, it doesn't just bless you, it tests you. It examines what your hands do with increase and what your heart does with influence. Wealth, especially divine wealth, will always amplify what is inside of you. If you carry gratitude, wealth will expand your generosity. If you carry pride, wealth will inflate your ego. If you carry purpose, wealth will enhance your calling. But if you carry brokenness, wealth can magnify your wounds. This is why heaven waits until you are spiritually anchored before releasing abundance. There were moments in my own journey when I prayed for increase, not realizing that the version of me back then didn't yet have the discipline to manage what I was asking for. It wasn't denial, it was protection. And when God finally released it, He did so at the exact moment my character caught up with my calling. Chosen one, your time is drawing near. You didn't wait this long for nothing. And hear this: as wealth begins to find you, your greatest strength will not be your strategy, your intelligence, or your connections. It will be your ability to stay grounded, to stay prayerful, to stay hidden in God. Money may shift your lifestyle, but it must not shift your posture. Prosperity may change your environment, but it must not change your integrity. God gives wealth not to decorate your life, but to delegate His purpose through you. You become a vessel of divine flow, a steward, not an owner. And the moment you try to claim ownership, you risk blocking the very stream that was meant to continue through you. Chosen one. The instruction for this season is simple: rise quietly, manage wisely, and stay deeply connected to the one who opened the doors. As you move deeper into this new season, heaven is watching the posture of your heart. Not your words, not your announcements, your heart. Because the heart reveals whether your blessing will last or disappear. And your heart is being refined even now. Chosen one. When God begins to usher you into a new dimension of abundance, the shift does not start in your wallet, it starts in your spirit. The atmosphere around you changes because something inside you has already been transformed. Before the money ever arrives, God enlarges your inner capacity to carry what is coming. He stretches your mindset, widens your discernment, and quiets the noise within you so that you can hear Him with clarity. And it's this internal expansion that becomes the true sign that a supernatural wealth transfer is near. Many people focus on the outward symbols of blessing, but heaven focuses on the inward structure. A house can only rise as high as its foundation is deep. And chosen one. God has been deepening you, strengthening you, preparing you in ways you didn't even recognize. Every delay, every closed door, every hidden season was part of your spiritual foundation being rebuilt, so that when abundance comes, you remain unshaken. Anointed one, I want you to feel the weight of this truth. God trusts you with what He transforms you for. If He is increasing your capacity, it is because He is preparing to increase what flows to you and what flows through you. But with increase comes responsibility to steward, to protect, and to remain aligned. I've walked through seasons where God blessed me beyond what I thought I could handle. And in those moments I learned that blessing is not soft. It is heavy, it requires balance, it requires discipline, it requires silence, especially when the blessing is financial. Wealth exposes what lack kept hidden. It reveals motives, yours and others. It shows you where your heart truly lives. And it shows you who around you can handle the version of you that God is calling forth. There was a time in my life when I wanted everyone to celebrate with me. I wanted to call people, share good news, announce breakthroughs. I thought joy needed to be witnessed to feel real. But experience taught me something very different. Not every smile is sincere, not every ear is safe, not every heart can handle what God is doing in you. Some will congratulate you publicly while competing with you privately. Some will clap for you while quietly questioning how you rose. Some will love you deeply until your success surpasses their comfort. And that is why heaven whispers, move softly. When divine wealth arrives, the first instruction is not celebration, it is consecration. It is the command to remain quiet while God finishes aligning the unseen parts of your blessing. Because the greatest danger is not losing the money, it is losing the purity, peace, and purpose that God gave you before the money came. Chosen one. There will be a moment, maybe soon, when the blessing you've been praying for suddenly manifests. A contract approved, a door opened, an unexpected check, a divine opportunity that shifts your entire direction. And in that moment, your instinct might be to rejoice loudly, to tell someone close to you, to share your testimony instantly. But I need you to understand, something deeply manifestation is not completion. When the fruit finally appears, the roots are still strengthening beneath the surface. It is still fragile. It is still vulnerable. And the enemy loves nothing more than attacking a blessing that is too young to defend itself. Your silence in the early stages is not secrecy. It is strategy. It is alignment. It is wisdom, and wisdom is what separates those who rise temporarily from those who rise sustainably. Anointed One wealth is not maintained by excitement. It is maintained by discipline. You may not realize it yet, but God is training you in the quiet spaces of your life. He is showing you how to protect your peace so that prosperity does not become a burden. He is teaching you how to master your emotions so that you do not make impulsive decisions when breakthrough comes. He is guiding you in stillness so that your spirit becomes sensitive enough to detect His instructions instantly. I have lived through seasons where I made decisions too quickly, celebrated too loudly, and trusted too freely. Each time the cost was higher than the blessing, but the seasons where I remained still, those are the seasons where everything multiplied effortlessly. A chosen one. You are entering a season where your discernment will matter more than your desire. Your ability to listen will matter more than your ability to speak. Your ability to protect what God gives you will matter more than the appearance of being blessed. There is a reason Scripture speaks of the still small voice. Heaven does its greatest work in quietness. The enemy does his greatest work in chaos. You must choose your atmosphere intentionally. Surround yourself with peace. Distance yourself from anything that disturbs your clarity. Guard your spirit the way you would guard something priceless, because that is exactly what it is. And hear me, the wealth that is coming is not ordinary. It is not a small increase. It is not a slight improvement. It is a divine shift, one that will require a steady hand and a humble heart. It will bring opportunities you never imagined, influence you never pursued, and provision you never thought possible. But it will also require secrecy, strategy, and sensitivity to God's voice. Chosen one, heaven is preparing you for more than money. Heaven is preparing you for mastery, and mastery begins in silence. Chosen one. There comes a moment in every spiritual journey when God begins to shift you from survival into stewardship, from waiting into walking, from hoping into holding. And when that moment arrives, it rarely looks the way you imagined. It doesn't always come wrapped in fireworks or loud confirmations. Sometimes it comes quietly through a subtle shift in your spirit, a sudden calm replacing old fears, a sense of clarity you didn't pray for but desperately needed. That quiet shift is often the evidence that heaven has already moved on your behalf. You may not see the money yet, you may not see the open door yet, but the atmosphere around you has changed because heaven has already released the instruction, the provision, and the alignment. And chosen one, when heaven moves, your only responsibility is to stay sensitive, stay obedient, and stay quiet enough to hear what comes next. I've learned that there is a difference between believing God and being ready for God. Many people believe in breakthrough, but very few are spiritually prepared for the weight of it. When God elevates you, He does not simply elevate your circumstances. He elevates your responsibilities, your thinking, your discernment, and your sensitivity to His voice. And that is why He often tests you in silence before He blesses you in abundance. He watches how you respond when no one notices your progress. He listens to your thoughts when you receive good news but cannot yet share it. He pays attention to whether you will seek his direction or seek human validation. Because chosen one validation is tempting, but it is also dangerous. It exposes what God is still growing. It invites voices that were never assigned to your journey. It allows opinions to reshape instructions that were meant for you alone. Anointed one, I speak from experience. There was a season in my life when every door I prayed for seemed to open at the same time. Opportunities increase favor, they all arrived suddenly. And because I was excited, I told the wrong people too soon. I believed that excitement was a sign I needed to share. But what I didn't realize was that excitement without discernment can become a trap. Some smiled while privately doubting me. Others listened while silently resenting me, and a few offered advice that sounded supportive, but subtly redirected me away from God's original instruction. That season taught me one of the greatest spiritual principles I've ever learned. Early blessings require early silence. Not silence out of fear, but silence out of honor. Silence that says, God, I trust you more than I trust applause. Silence that says, Lord, finish what you started before I speak on what you're still forming. Chosen one. You must understand that when wealth, opportunity, or elevation comes from God, it carries a divine assignment. It is not just for comfort. It is for calling. It is not just for lifestyle. It is for legacy. And anything with divine purpose must be treated with divine protection. This is why God instructs his chosen ones to guard their hearts, guard their plans, and guard their blessings. Some people can handle your pain, but they cannot handle your progress. Some can comfort you when you are low, but cannot celebrate you when you rise. And some walk with you faithfully in seasons of lack, yet become distant the moment abundance enters your life. This is not because they are evil. It is because your elevation exposes their unhealed places. Your blessing reveals their stagnation. Your progress challenges the excuses that have kept them stuck. And instead of growing, they may project, compare, or resent. That is why your prosperity requires wisdom. Anointed One, Heaven is calling you to a higher level of spiritual discipline. When financial increase begins to flow, your first instinct must not be spending, it must be seeking. Seeking God's instruction, seeking clarity on where the seed should go, seeking wisdom on which opportunities are divine and which are distractions. Because wealth brings options, and not all options are aligned with your purpose. Money will offer you roads that God never intended you to walk. Influence will attract people God never intended you to partner with. And favor will open doors that are not intended for your longevity. That is why wisdom must rise in you like a shield. You cannot navigate supernatural blessings with natural strategies. You must navigate them with discernment, sharpened by silence. Chosen one. The deeper you go into divine prosperity, the quieter your spirit must become. You cannot afford to let noise replace prayer. You cannot let comfort replace consecration. You cannot let abundance replace the hunger that once drove you to seek God with your whole heart. Prosperity without presence becomes poison. Elevation without intimacy becomes emptiness. And wealth without worship becomes wilderness. This is why God prepares your spirit. Before he prepares your bank account, he ensures that your heart can withstand what your hands are about to hold. There will be moments ahead when you will sense the spiritual weight of your next season before the physical blessing arrives. You will feel the pull to withdraw, the urge to pray deeper, the instinct to separate from certain conversations or environments. Do not ignore these signals. They are heaven's warning signs that you are entering holy territory. When God is preparing you for increase, He often reduces your circle. When He is positioning you for purpose, He often silences your surroundings. When He is elevating you, He often hides you, not to punish you, but to protect what He is growing within you. Anointed One walking into divine wealth is not about proving yourself. It is about positioning yourself. It is about being so anchored in God that increase does not change your character, does not weaken your discipline, and does not disconnect you from the One who blessed you. And when you reach that level of spiritual maturity, heaven can trust you with more, because He knows you will not worship the blessing, but the blesser. Chosen one. There are seasons when God prepares you in ways that feel invisible to everyone else, but undeniable to your own spirit. It's as if heaven begins working behind the scenes, rearranging things quietly, removing what cannot go with you, strengthening what must remain, and sharpening parts of you that you didn't even know were dull. In those seasons, it may feel lonely. It may feel like nothing is happening. But what you don't see is that heaven is constructing the framework for your next level. And when God is building the foundation for divine wealth, divine elevation, and divine stewardship, He often does it in silence, not because you are forgotten, but because the roots must grow deep before the branches rise high. Chosen one. You are in such a season right now where heaven is forming something solid beneath the surface, and your responsibility is to stay surrendered, stay listening, and stay hidden long enough for the fullness of the promise to take shape. Anointed One. I need you to understand something that many believers overlook. Not every blessing is meant to be visible immediately. Some breakthroughs must be nurtured in the quiet. Some opportunities must be protected in the dark, and some wealth must mature in silence before it is ready to transform your life. The greatest mistake people make is rushing to reveal what God has only begun. They expose the seed before it becomes a tree. They show the blueprint before the structure is stable. They announce the promise before the protection is complete. I have done this myself in previous seasons, shared what God whispered, exposed what God was still forming, trusted people who were never meant to partner with my destiny. And each time the blessing became vulnerable before it had the strength to stand. That is why heaven now teaches me and teaches you to move with wisdom, to hold with reverence, and to speak only when instructed. There is a deep spiritual truth that money exposes one most people don't want to acknowledge. Lack hides character. Abundance reveals it. When God elevates you financially, materially, or spiritually, His first intention is not to increase your lifestyle, but to expose your heart. He reveals what motives still need cleansing, what habits still need discipline, what relationships still need purification. And often the silence He requires of you is not just to protect the blessing, but to protect you from sabotaging it. Because excitement can be loud, ego can be loud, fear can be loud, but wisdom whispers, discernment whispers, and the voice of God often speaks most clearly in the quiet. That is why chosen ones must learn to be comfortable, not explaining themselves, not defending their progress, not broadcasting their steps. Silence is not a prison, it is a sanctuary. Anointed One divine wealth is unlike earthly wealth. It does not come through manipulation, competition, or desperation. It comes through alignment. Heaven-backed prosperity is not earned by striving. It is received by stewardship, obedience, and spiritual readiness. This kind of wealth is strategic, generational, purposeful. It flows through you, not just to you. And because of that, it must be guarded with spiritual authority. There will be people who suddenly take interest in your life, not because they love you, but because they sense something shifting around you. There will be spiritual forces that try to create confusion or distraction, so you lose focus at the moment you need clarity the most. And there will be temptations to prove that you are blessed, rather than simply being blessed. But chosen one, heaven did not position you to perform. Heaven positioned you to carry purpose. One thing I learned from personal experience is that success without boundaries becomes sabotage. When God began to elevate me into realms I had never stepped into, whether financially, spiritually, or relationally, I realized quickly that not everyone could go with me. Not everyone could handle the new version of me that God was cultivating. Some misunderstood the silence. Some questioned the distance. Some assumed arrogance when it was actually obedience. But as I obeyed God's instruction to move quietly, I discovered a powerful truth. The people who are meant to walk with you do not require explanations. They recognize spiritual alignment. The ones who need constant access to your process are often the ones who cannot handle your promise. Chosen. 1. The season you are entering will require boundaries that protect your peace routines, that strengthen your spirit, and a level of humility that keeps you grounded no matter how high God lifts you. Because divine prosperity is not merely measured by what you accumulate, but by what you remain anchored to. Wealth will test your patience. Influence will test your humility. Opportunity will test your discipline. And only the one who remains rooted in God will endure without corruption. This is why God trains you now through silence, through hiddenness, through separation, so that when the blessing comes, your heart remains steady. Anointed one, hear this deeply. You were not chosen simply to receive wealth. You were chosen to multiply it, steward it, protect it, and aim it toward kingdom purpose. And for that to happen, you must learn to rise without noise, build without applause, and walk without the need to be understood. Heaven is preparing you to carry something heavy, something holy, something that will outlast you. And the quiet you experience now is not emptiness. It is preparation. It is consecration. It is God positioning you for a blessing that requires maturity, strength, and spiritual clarity. Chosen one. There is a sacred moment in every journey with God when you begin to realize that what He is doing in your life is bigger than anything you prayed for, expected, or imagined. It is the moment when you sense deep within your spirit that heaven is rearranging the landscape around you. The shift might feel subtle at first, like a quiet stirring in your heart, a gentle pressure urging you to move differently, think differently, and respond differently. But as that stirring grows, you start to understand that this is not ordinary change. This is divine transition. This is heaven preparing you for a level of abundance and responsibility that requires a new version of you. And chosen one, that version is emerging even now, being shaped in silence, strengthened in private, and purified in the stillness God placed around you. Anointed one, as God elevates you into a realm of supernatural provision, you will notice something profound. The quieter your spirit becomes, the clearer God's instruction becomes. When you silence the noise around you, the opinions, the assumptions, the expectations, you begin to hear heaven with an accuracy that wasn't possible before. This is why the season you're in right now might feel unusually calm, unusually still, or unusually detached from the environments you once depended on. God is not distancing you to isolate you. He is distancing you to tune you. He is sharpening your discernment so that when the blessings begin to manifest visibly, you will not be swayed by distraction or seduced by applause. You will move with intelligence, intention, and divine precision. I remember a time in my own journey when I sensed a shift before I saw any evidence of it. My spirit felt restless, but not in a fearful way, restless in a way that told me something was coming, that required me to prepare inwardly. And during that season, God cut away conversations, routines, and even relationships that were quietly contaminating my clarity. At the moment it hurt. It felt like loss. But in hindsight, it was protection. Heaven was creating a spiritual buffer around my life because the blessing that was coming needed room to land. And chosen one, God is doing the same for you. What feels like separation is actually insulation. What feels like reduction is actually refinement. What feels like emptiness is actually expansion. You are being positioned for wealth that requires spiritual stability. Divine increase is not just about receiving, it is about managing, discerning, and sustaining. Anyone can receive a blessing, but few can carry one without losing themselves in the process. And that is why God is stripping away anything that could sabotage your stewardship. He is teaching you how to guard your energy, your time, your intentions, and your inner peace. Because when wealth comes, your peace must remain intact. Without peace, prosperity becomes pressure. Without discipline, abundance becomes chaos. Without alignment, influence becomes danger. God is preparing you now so that you do not collapse under the very thing you prayed for. Chosen one. The coming financial shift in your life is not random, it is strategic. Heaven is moving resources into your hands, not to inflate your identity, but to activate your assignment. You will not be blessed just to feel blessed. You will be blessed because someone connected to your destiny needs what God is entrusting you with. Perhaps it's a family member who's been praying for stability. Perhaps it's a dream that God placed inside you years ago, but was waiting for the right moment to fund. Perhaps it's a kingdom assignment that requires you to walk in levels of generosity you've never touched before. Whatever it is, the wealth is purposeful, and purposeful wealth demands purposeful silence. I've lived through seasons where money came fast and unexpectedly, and in those moments the temptation to share the good news was overwhelming. But I learned the hard way that sharing too soon can invite spiritual warfare that you were never meant to face. Some people can bless you in lack, but curse you in abundance. Some will pray for you sincerely until God lifts you higher than they expected. Some will cheer for your progress until it challenges the limits of their own life. And this is why God is building a shield of wisdom around you. He is teaching you that silence is not secrecy, it is strategy. Silence is not fear, it is focus. Silence is not withholding, it is wisdom. Anointed one, you will begin to notice that as God elevates you, He will elevate your standards as well. What you tolerated before, you will no longer accept. What you once entertained, you will now discern as distraction. What once appealed to your insecurities will no longer have power over your spirit. This is not arrogance, it is evolution. This is not pride, it is positioning. God is reshaping the container of your life so that when He pours increase into you, nothing leaks, nothing wastes, nothing contaminates. You are being refined for responsibility. And hear this, the wealth coming your way is not meant to change who you are, it is meant to reveal who you truly are. When money enters the hands of a chosen one, it becomes an instrument of impact, healing, and transformation. God is not simply answering your prayers, He's activating your purpose. And the quietness He's asking of you is not a burden, it is a blessing. It is the sacred space where He molds you into someone who can handle what others would mishandle. someone who can sustain what others would squander, someone who can protect what others would expose. Chosen one. There comes a time when God begins to elevate you so strategically that even you can sense the difference in the air around you. It's not loud, but it is undeniable. It's not chaotic, but it is deeply stirring. You may notice that your sleep feels different, your thoughts feel sharper, and your spirit feels more alert. These are the early signs that heaven is shifting you into a higher realm, a realm where financial increase, supernatural wisdom, and divine assignments converge. And the first instruction heaven gives you in this transition is not to speak. Not yet. Not now. Because what God is forming requires your protection, your attentiveness, and your silence. Divine elevation is always born in the quiet before it is revealed in the open. Anointed one. Let me share something I learned from years of walking with God. Blessings often come wrapped in responsibility. The more significant the blessing, the heavier the responsibility to manage it. When God trusts you with wealth, He is not only giving you provision, He is giving you influence, authority, and impact. And impact can shift atmospheres, alter destinies, and unlock futures. But it can also attract jealousy, spiritual attacks, and unnecessary attention if revealed prematurely. There were times in my journey when I misunderstood this truth. I confused excitement with readiness. I believed that if God blessed me, it was automatically time to celebrate publicly. But I later realized that the early phase of a blessing is the most vulnerable phase of all. It is when the root is forming, when the structure is stabilizing, when the protection is still being constructed around the blessing. And revealing it too soon invites forces seen and unseen that can shake what should have been secured. Chosen. One, understand this deeply. Silence is not weakness. It is wisdom. When you keep quiet about what God is doing, you're not hiding, you're honoring. You're not avoiding people, you're avoiding interference. You're not isolating, you're insulating what is holy. There is a difference between being secretive and being selective. A secretive person hides out of fear. A selective person guards out of discernment. And the season God is taking you into requires you to be selective. Not everyone who claps for you is for you. Not everyone who listens understands you. Not everyone who has access deserves access. Elevation demands boundaries. You may begin to notice that God is removing certain connections from your life, not because something went wrong, but because something is going right. Some people cannot travel to the next level with you because their presence would contaminate the blessing. Others cannot handle the weight of your new season because their mindset is still anchored in your old one. And some are simply too noisy for the level of clarity you will need to steward what God is about to release. When heaven elevates you, it reduces your circle, sharpens your focus, and cleans your environment. You may not understand it at first, but you will soon realize that every subtraction God allowed was actually a form of protection. Anointed one, the wealth that is coming into your life is not ordinary, it is ordained. It is not just provision, it is prophecy. It is not just financial, it is spiritual. Heaven-backed wealth carries assignments. It may be assigned to break generational cycles in your family, to fund a vision you once thought impossible, or to lift someone God has connected to your destiny. And because this wealth has a divine purpose, you must handle it with divine discipline. The enemy does not fight empty hands. He fights hands that are about to overflow. This is why the warfare feels stronger. This is why your emotions feel heightened. This is why God is training your spirit before He fills your life. Wealth does not change your heart, it reveals it. And heaven is ensuring that what is revealed in you is purity, humility, and honor. Let me tell you something I learned the hard way. When God promotes you, He expects your character to rise with your circumstances. Promotion without character becomes destruction. Elevation without humility becomes pride. Abundance without wisdom becomes chaos. But a chosen one who is rooted, disciplined, and surrendered becomes unstoppable. And this is what God is shaping in you now. Your discipline is increasing, your discernment is sharpening, your hunger for God is deepening. You are becoming someone who can carry honor without arrogance, wealth without worry, and influence without losing your identity. This is why the process feels intense. God is not preparing you for a moment, He is preparing you for a mantle. Chosen one, you may feel like you're in a silent season, but the truth is that heaven is speaking louder than ever. God is whispering strategies, revealing wisdom, giving instructions, and preparing you for movements that will shift the direction of your life. This is not a time to fear the unknown. It is a time to embrace the unfolding. Do not rush the process. Do not force visibility. Do not crave approval. Your blessing is growing in the dark. Your breakthrough is maturing in silence. Your wealth is forming behind the scenes. And when it is ready, when you are ready, God will reveal it in such a way that no one, not even your enemies, can deny that His hand was upon you. Anointed one, stay quiet, stay steady, stay surrendered. Heaven is preparing something only a mature spirit can carry, and you are becoming that spirit. Chosen one. As you continue walking through this sacred transition, I want you to understand something profound. God is not only changing what happens around you, He's changing what happens within you. This internal transformation is the true birthplace of divine prosperity. Before God ever places wealth in your hands, He strengthens your identity, your humility, your discipline, and your spiritual sensitivity. Because what is coming to you is not casual increase, it is divine assignment wrapped in abundance. And abundance without inner maturity becomes chaos. But abundance given to a chosen one who has learned silence, surrender, and stillness becomes a tool of heaven. You are being shaped to carry something many people pray for, but few are prepared for. Anointed one. I can tell you from my own journey that the greatest changes God ever made in my life were not visible at first. They happened in my mindset, in my habits, in the way I prayed, in the way I listened. There were moments when I thought I was waiting on God, not realizing He was waiting on me, waiting for me to release old patterns, waiting for me to stop explaining myself to people who were not spiritually aligned with me, waiting for me to quiet the noise of insecurity, comparison, and doubt. It was only when I let go of what was draining me that the blessings began to flow freely, and I believe that is what God is doing with you. He is uncluttering your atmosphere so that divine strategy can enter. He is reorganizing your inner world so that abundance has a safe place to land. You may notice now more than ever that God is asking you to pay attention to your environment. He is highlighting conversations that no longer uplift you, people who no longer support you, spaces that no longer feel like home. This is not your imagination. It is discernment awakening. As divine wealth begins to move in your direction, God will not allow you to remain in environments that restrict your growth or diminish your vision. Elevation demands separation, not because you must isolate yourself, but because your spirit must be free from anything that pulls you backward. And sometimes the people you love can unintentionally keep you tied to old versions of yourself. That is why God in His mercy begins to distance you before He elevates you. He protects the blessing by reshaping the environment before the blessing arrives. Chosen. One another sign that heaven is preparing you for wealth is the sudden desire for order. You begin to feel uncomfortable with the things you once tolerated: clutter, inconsistency, emotional chaos, financial disorder, rushed decisions. These are not just lifestyle shifts. These are spiritual shifts. God is training you for stewardship by teaching you order. Abundance flows through structure. Favor multiplies through discipline. Opportunity blossoms through clarity. When God begins to bring order to your life, it is because He is preparing you to carry more than you've ever carried. The same way a gardener clears space before planting new seeds, God clears your internal and external environment before releasing divine provision. Anointed One. It is also common in this season to feel unseen or misunderstood. People may wonder why you have become quieter, more guarded, more intentional. They may even misinterpret your silence as distance. But what they cannot see is that your spirit is in training. You are in a spiritual classroom where heaven teaches in whispers. This is not the time for loud explanations or emotional reactions. It is the time for spiritual absorption. Receive what God is teaching you, even if no one else understands the shift. Understanding is not a requirement for obedience. Obedience is what unlocks the blessing, not public approval. There will also be a growing sensitivity in your spirit, a heightened awareness of what brings you peace and what disturbs it. That sensitivity is a divine protection system. Peace is a sign of God's presence. Anxiety is often a sign of misalignment. And the closer you get to divine wealth, the more protective you must become of your peace. Because peace is not a luxury. It is a weapon. It is what keeps you from making desperate decisions. It is what guides you toward the right opportunities and away from the wrong ones. It is what positions you to receive instruction from heaven clearly. Guard your peace as fiercely as you guard your finances, because without peace, wealth becomes empty and stressful. But with peace, wealth becomes purposeful and impactful. Chosen One. Perhaps the most powerful shift you will notice in this season is the transformation of your intentions. When God prepares you for divine prosperity, He purifies your motives. Wealth is no longer about proving yourself, impressing others, or escaping insecurity. It becomes about purpose, impact, and obedience. You begin to desire wealth, not for ego, but for assignment. You begin to see money not as a symbol of status, but as a tool of influence. You begin to realize that God is entrusting you with resources because He can trust your heart. That is the mark of a true anointed one, someone who understands that what they receive is meant to bless more than just themselves. Anointed. One, hear me carefully. The shift you are experiencing is not coincidence. It is divine preparation. The silence you feel is not emptiness. It is strategy. The changes happening around you are not random. They are intentional. Heaven is grooming you, refining you, aligning you, and strengthening you so that you can step into wealth without losing your soul. And when God finishes this inner work, the external blessings will manifest effortlessly, because what is aligned internally cannot be stopped externally. Chosen One. As you move deeper into this sacred transformation, you will begin to recognize that God is not only preparing you to receive wealth, He is preparing you to sustain it. Receiving a blessing is one thing, but carrying it with consistency, maturity, and wisdom is another. And heaven never gives you something you are not spiritually equipped to maintain. This is why the internal work feels so intense right now. God is shaping your thoughts, refining your habits, and strengthening your discernment, because He knows that what is coming next requires a version of you that is grounded, humble, and unshakable. Divine prosperity is not fragile, it is fortified. And the fortification begins in your spirit long before it reaches your hands. Anointed One. One of the most profound indicators that wealth is approaching is the shift in your perspective. You begin to look at things differently. Decisions that once felt small now carry weight. Opportunities that once seemed appealing now feel misaligned. You no longer crave temporary gratification because your spirit is focused on longevity and legacy. This is not maturity born of experience alone, it is maturity born of revelation. God is showing you what truly matters, what truly lasts, and what truly aligns with your purpose. The closer you get to divine wealth, the more you detach from worldly validation. You realize that wealth is not about how loudly you can announce your success, but how effectively you can steward your assignment. I've lived through seasons when God shifted my thinking before He shifted my circumstances. I remember feeling an unusual clarity about my financial decisions, my relationships, my environment. It was as if God was cleaning the windows of my soul, allowing me to see everything with fresh eyes. During that time, I lost interest in impressing people. I lost the need to be understood. I lost the urge to explain myself. Instead, I desired alignment, purpose, and peace. That shift was not random. It was preparation. And, chosen one, that is what is happening to you now. Heaven is reprogramming your internal compass so that when wealth arrives, you do not drift into chaos, confusion, or compromise. You may also notice a change in your tolerance. Things that once entertained you now irritate you. Conversations that once felt harmless now feel draining. Environments that once brought comfort now feel spiritually heavy. This is not you becoming distant, it is you becoming discerning. God is elevating your spiritual frequency, and anything that operates beneath that level feels disruptive to your spirit. When God prepares you for wealth, He sharpens your sensitivity to anything that could sabotage it. He trains your ears to hear His voice. He trains your mind to recognize distraction. He trains your heart to remain pure in the midst of abundance. Chosen one, understand this deeply. Wealth will expose the cracks in your character if they are not addressed beforehand. This is why God is dealing with your heart now. He is teaching you humility so that elevation does not produce arrogance. He is teaching you discipline so that abundance does not create recklessness. He is teaching you boundaries so that generosity does not become exploitation. And He is teaching you silence so that blessings do not become targets. This is not punishment, it is preparation for sustainability. Heaven is not preparing you for a moment, it is preparing you for a lifestyle. Anointed one. As you continue in this preparation season, you will begin to feel a new type of strength forming inside you. It is a quiet strength, not loud or boastful. It is the strength that comes from knowing who you are and whose you are. It is the strength that comes from trust, not in your ability, but in God's faithfulness. You are no longer driven by insecurity or fear. You are driven by purpose. You no longer chase opportunities. Opportunities are being positioned to find you. This is what divine alignment feels like. It is not forced. It is not rushed. It is not chaotic. It is ordered, peaceful, and intentional. And as this inner strength grows, so will your capacity. Capacity for responsibility. Capacity for generosity. Capacity for wisdom. Many people pray for blessings, but do not have the capacity to hold them. This is why God is stretching you. Every test, every lesson, every moment of silence, every shift in your relationships, it is all increasing your ability to carry more. Capacity is not measured by what you want, it is measured by what you can sustain. God is increasing your spiritual bandwidth so that when He pours out wealth, your spirit does not crumble under the weight. Chosen one, you must also recognize that divine wealth demands divine direction. The Holy Spirit will guide you to opportunities no one else sees. He will warn you of dangers others overlook. He will highlight investments, connections, and paths that align with your destiny. This is why silence is crucial, because in silence you can hear heaven's strategy. God is not only preparing you to receive, He is preparing you to discern. You will know when to move, when to pause, when to invest, and when to walk away. Divine wealth does not require frantic movement, it requires intentional obedience. Anointed one. The transformation happening inside you is not small, it is not shallow, it is not temporary, it is deep, lasting, and supernatural. You are being prepared to carry wealth with wisdom, influence with integrity, and abundance with humility. And though you may not see the full picture, yet trust this. Every change, every separation, every quiet moment is aligning you for a blessing that will not break you, but build you. Chosen one, as this divine transformation continues to shape your inner world, I want you to realize that you are being ushered into a realm of wealth, wisdom, and spiritual maturity that very few ever access. This realm is not entered through effort alone, it is entered through alignment. And alignment is not loud, it is precise, intentional, and deeply spiritual. God is not simply blessing you with increase. He is positioning you to carry abundance without losing clarity, purpose, or peace. Many people rise quickly but fall just as fast because they were elevated without being established. But you, anointed one, are being established first. God is laying the inner foundation before unveiling the outer elevation. There comes a point in the journey of a chosen one where you begin to sense a new level of responsibility resting on your life. It feels like a weight, but not a burden, more like a mantle. You wake up with a growing awareness that your decisions matter, your habits matter, your thoughts matter. You begin to understand that wealth is not merely a blessing, but a stewardship. And with stewardship comes spiritual accountability. Divine prosperity is not the reward of random effort, it is the fruit of inner order. And this is the season where God is ordering your spirit so that abundance does not overwhelm you. Anointed one, as wealth approaches, you will notice that God becomes more intentional in what He allows and what He removes. Doors that once opened easily may suddenly close. Connections that once felt comforting may feel draining. Environments that once felt familiar may feel restrictive. Do not fight these changes. They are evidence that your spirit is rising. When God prepares you for wealth, He detoxes your surroundings. He removes people whose presence carries spiritual interference. He closes doors that would have diluted your blessing. He ends cycles that kept you in smallness. Heaven will not pour abundance into an atmosphere contaminated by confusion. This season may require you to walk away from conversations that no longer align with your values. You may feel the urge to protect your energy more fiercely. You may sense the need to step back from social noise, emotional chaos, or unnecessary relationships. This is not you being antisocial, it is you becoming anointed. God is increasing your spiritual sensitivity so that you will recognize quickly what belongs and what does not. He is teaching you how to preserve your peace, because peace is the foundation upon which sustainable wealth is built. Prosperity cannot flourish in a chaotic spirit. Chosen. Hear me, one of the signs that divine wealth is drawing near is a deepening sense of self-control. You begin to think before you respond. You pause before you speak. You observe before you trust. You give yourself time to discern instead of rushing into decisions. This is not hesitation, it is holy discipline. Wealth will require you to move with wisdom, not emotion. Money in the hands of a reactive person becomes destruction. Money in the hands of a disciplined person becomes destiny. And God is shaping you to be someone who carries destiny. I remember a time when God began to increase me spiritually long before He increased me financially. My spirit became sharper, my sensitivity heightened, my awareness deeper. I noticed things that once went over my head. I felt the intentions of people before they spoke. I sensed danger before it formed, and at first I didn't understand why. But later, I realized God was training me to steward abundance without being blindsided. Wealth attracts spiritual attention. It draws eyes, energies, and intentions, some pure, some polluted. And God prepares His chosen ones not by teaching them to fear, but by teaching them to perceive. Anointed one. The silence God requires of you in this season is strengthening your spiritual perception. The quieter you become, the more clearly you hear heaven. The less you speak, the more you observe. The fewer people you confide in, the more guarded your purpose becomes. And it is in this guardedness that God can trust you with more. Divine wealth does not enter noisy environments. It enters discerning ones. And a discerning spirit is rare, refined only in silence and obedience. Chosen one, expect your values to shift in this season. What once impressed you will no longer move you. What once tempted you will no longer attract you. What once distracted you will no longer touch you. This is not the loss of passion, it is the birth of purpose. God is maturing you beyond emotional impulses into spiritual intelligence. You are learning to make decisions that future generations will benefit from. You are thinking long-term, sowing, intentionally planning wisely. This is what divine wealth requires. And understand this: when heaven entrusts you with increase, it is because you have proven yourself trustworthy in the private places. Your humility has passed the test. Your silence has proven your discipline. Your discernment has matured. Your spirit has aligned. God is not blessing you by accident. He is blessing you by design. Chosen one, continue to walk softly, speak carefully, and guard your spirit fiercely. Heaven is preparing you for something powerful, something that will shift not only your life, but the lives of those connected to you. Chosen one. As you step further into this season of divine preparation, the clarity of your calling becomes sharper, and the weight of your assignment becomes more evident. You are beginning to sense that what God is orchestrating in your life is not temporary, not random, and not ordinary. It carries generational impact. It carries heavenly intention. It carries a purpose far bigger than comfort or convenience. And because of that, God is shaping you into someone who can walk in abundance without losing balance, operate in influence without losing humility, and carry wealth without losing worship. This is why the journey feels so intense, because the blessing you are being prepared for is not small. Anointed one. You may feel God pulling you inward in this season, calling you to examine your thoughts, your motives, your habits, and even your emotional patterns. This is not overthinking. This is refinement. Before God elevates a person outwardly, He strengthens them inwardly. And inner strength is not built in noisiness, it is built in sacred silence. You are learning to be more intentional with your decisions, more protective of your peace, more selective about who you allow close to your heart. These are not personality changes, they are spiritual upgrades. Upgrades that align you with the level of blessing God is preparing to release. There will be moments when the silence feels uncomfortable, moments when you miss the familiarity of old conversations, old routines, or old connections. But what you must remember is that familiarity often interferes with destiny. There are people you love, but their presence cannot accompany your elevation. There are environments you enjoyed, but their atmosphere cannot sustain where God is sending you. And there are habits you once relied on, but their patterns cannot support the weight of your future. God is cutting away what cannot survive the next dimension of your life. This is not loss, it is pruning. And pruning is always the evidence of preparation. Chosen one. The wealth that is coming to you requires emotional stability. Money in the hands of someone who is easily swayed becomes a weapon of self-destruction. Money in the hands of someone who lacks identity becomes a tool of insecurity. But money in the hands of someone who walks in spiritual maturity becomes a tool of transformation. Transformation for themselves, for their family, and for their divine assignment. This is why God is teaching you emotional discipline. He is training you to respond with wisdom instead of reacting with impulse. He is teaching you how to pause, how to discern, how to evaluate. These are kingdom skills, and those who master them become unstoppable. Anointed one, you may also notice that your relationship with time is changing. You no longer waste hours in places that drain your spirit. You no longer feel comfortable engaging in meaningless distractions. There is a sense of urgency in you, not anxiety, but purpose. You feel that you must prepare, must build, must align, must grow. This urgency is a sign from heaven. It means that the blessing is closer than it has ever been, and your spirit is receiving the signal. When God is about to unveil something big, He awakens your awareness. Pay attention to this awakening. It is guiding you, and as your awareness grows, so does your gratitude. You begin to look back at the battles you survived and realize none of them were wasted. Every disappointment refined you, every loss redirected you, every delay softened your ego and strengthened your faith. You begin to understand why God did not allow certain things to happen before, because you would not have been ready. You begin to see the protection hidden inside the waiting. That revelation alone is wealth, because a grateful heart is fertile ground for divine increase. Chosen one. I need you to hear this deeply. The silence God is asking of you now is preparing you for the visibility that will come later. Your name will be spoken in rooms you have never entered. Your influence will reach places your feet have not yet touched. Your impact will extend beyond what you have seen so far. But if your heart is not anchored, visibility will become vulnerability. And God is ensuring that when the world sees you rise, your spirit will be strong enough to withstand the pressure that accompanies greatness. Anointed one. The closer you get to divine wealth, the more disciplined your thoughts must become. You cannot afford negative self-talk. You cannot afford fear-based decisions. You cannot allow doubt to dilute what God is doing. Your mindset is being recalibrated for abundance. You are learning to expect favor, to prepare for increase, to think like someone who is entrusted with influence. This is not arrogance. It is alignment with your destiny. Chosen one, remain faithful to this process. Stay rooted. Stay listening. Stay surrendered. Heaven is not only preparing a blessing for you, heaven is preparing you for the blessing. Chosen one. As you step into this final movement of preparation, understand that every quiet moment, every hidden season, every internal shift has been building toward something extraordinary. You are not merely being blessed, you are being positioned. You are not just receiving increase, you are becoming the kind of vessel heaven can trust with influence, with resources, and with responsibility. And this final phase of your transformation is about alignment, refinement, and readiness. God is tuning your spirit so precisely that when the blessing arrives, you will walk in it with grace instead of fear, with wisdom instead of impulse, and with purpose instead of pride. You are being shaped into someone who can handle abundance without being consumed by it. Anointed one. In this season, God is teaching you how to let peace guide your decisions. True wealth does not come to a restless spirit, it comes to a grounded one. This is why God has been cutting away chaos, confusion, and unnecessary noise from your life. You may have wondered why certain people grew distant, why certain opportunities faded, or why certain doors closed with no explanation. But it was God removing anything that carried the potential to distract you from your assignment. Divine wealth flows best through a focused vessel. You are being trained to recognize peace as confirmation and disturbance as warning. This level of spiritual intelligence is rare, and it is part of the reason heaven is trusting you with more. You may also notice a new kind of boldness awakening inside you, not arrogance, but assurance. You no longer question whether you are deserving. You no longer doubt whether you're capable. You no longer shrink yourself to make others comfortable. This confidence is not self-made. It is God-formed. It is what happens when the Spirit of God pulls you out of fear-based thinking and places you into destiny-based thinking. You start believing not only in God's promise, but in your role within that promise. And that belief becomes the soil where supernatural opportunities take root. Chosen one. Divine wealth does not fall randomly into someone's life. It seeks the heart that is ready, the mind that is disciplined, and the spirit that is surrendered. You are becoming that person. Look at how your desires have changed. Look at how your conversations have shifted. Look at how your patience has deepened. Look at how you no longer chase validation. These are signs of maturity, signs that God has completed a great work within you. The blessing is no longer something you are waiting to grow into. It is something that has been waiting for you to become who you are right now. And as this preparation culminates, God is also giving you clarity regarding purpose. You are beginning to feel the pull towards something meaningful, something impactful, something that goes beyond your personal comfort. This is because divine wealth always carries divine assignment. Whether it is to build, to restore, to heal, to uplift, or to influence, your wealth will have a mission attached to it. And God is shaping you so that when the resources come, you will recognize exactly where they belong. Your generosity will be strategic. Your giving will be guided. Your investments will be intentional. Everything you touch will carry purpose. Anointed one, understand this truth deeply. The silence, the discipline, the pruning, the waiting. It was never about withholding from you. It was about preparing you to receive without trembling, preparing you to rise without losing balance, preparing you to walk into abundance without being overtaken by pride, preparing you to stand in a place God always intended for you. You are ready now, not perfect, not finished, but ready. Ready to manage what once overwhelmed you, ready to protect what once intimidated you, ready to step into what once felt too big for you. Heaven has shaped your character, refined your spirit, and matured your vision. And now, as you stand on the threshold of divine wealth and supernatural increase, know this: with certainty you did not get here by accident. You did not endure for nothing. You did not grow in silence for no reason. God has crafted you into a vessel capable of carrying both blessing and purpose. Chosen one, walk forward with humility, with wisdom, and with unwavering faith. What is coming next is not just provision, it is destiny unfolding. Chosen one. As this message comes to a close, know this: heaven has already moved on your behalf. You are standing in your kairos, moment aligned with divine timing, covered by a supernatural transfer that is unfolding even now. Walk forward in silence, in wisdom, and in holy confidence. Stay faithful to the one who called you, and let gratitude guide every step you take. The blessing is coming, and you are ready to carry it with purity and purpose. If this word spoke to your spirit, Anointed One, feel free to share your testimony below and stay connected for more prophetic guidance.